Welcome everybody to the latest video. On today's weather report, I'm going to present my official 2023 spring forecast. I'll be sharing with you my predictions for the temperatures, precipitation, drought conditions, river flooding, and severe weather for March through June. We have lots of information to break down in this video, so let's get right into it, starting off with my temperature forecast for April through June. Widespread above normal temperatures are possible from the southwest into much of the eastern United States. A higher chance of above normal temperatures appears possible in this slightly darker orange color, from Arizona and New Mexico into the eastern United States. Lastly, this red layer which I have added is where I expect a high likelihood of above normal temperatures. This is confined to the southern high plains through the south, and up the east coast. Some below normal temperatures will be possible for some areas as well, especially in the northern plains. This blue area is where we may see periods of cooler than average weather. Next up, this is my drought and precipitation outlook. These areas shaded in brown, which are located over the southern plains, southwest, and portions of the northwestern United States, is where drought conditions are expected to develop or worsen. These are areas that have seen little rainfall over the winter, and the springtime doesn't look to bring too much relief. Thankfully, there is some good news, which we see in these green shades across portions of the West and Florida. Areas in the green were previously in a drought, but we are expecting the spring months to bring relief to these areas, which will improve the drought in some locations, and completely erase it from other areas. I have also added a large green area to parts of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, Northeast, and the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. This is where there is a chance of above normal precipitation in the April to June timeframe. If we take a look back to the west, I have also added two large brown areas, one which is centered over the northwest and the other over the southwest. The reason why we are expecting the drought conditions to continue or worsen across these areas is because we are expecting below average precipitation as we head into the spring months. The winter season of 2022 through 2023 has brought a constant barrage of powerful storms to the west, particularly California. These relentless storms, even including a monstrous bomb cyclone in January, has resulted in widespread extreme rainfall and historic snowpack across the Sierras over the last few months. While this has caused some short-term problems like flash flooding, mudslides, and coastal erosion, it has been beneficial for the years-long drought that has plagued California. We can really put this into perspective when we compare the drought monitor back in August of 2022 to the drought monitor of March 2023. As temperatures warm and snow switches to rain in the mountains, all the water from rainfall and snowmelt will result in significant spring flooding. Here is the spring 2023 flood outlook for the United States. All the areas shaded in green represent areas where minor flooding will be possible between March and May. This includes areas in the western United States as well as a large portion of the east. This darker shade of green represents an area where moderate spring flooding will be possible, in portions of Nevada and California. This is largely due to saturated soils and above average snowpack. This isn't the only area at risk for flooding. If we move towards the east, there are many more areas at risk, such as eastern portions of the Dakotas and places along the Mississippi River from the Twin Cities down to St. Louis. Lastly, a major flood risk is in place for areas close to Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, as well as along the Iowa and Illinois border. Major spring flooding can result in extensive inundation of structures and roads, with significant evacuations of people, some being transferred to higher elevations. This is certainly something to watch closely during the springtime if you live in the areas shaded in red. It's now time to look at the severe weather outlook for March, April, and May. I have made a forecast for each month, to make it easier to understand what to expect during each month. For the month of March, some severe weather will be possible in the red shade. Multiple severe weather events are likely in the darker red, from the Gulf Coast to the Ohio Valley. The purple shade extending from the southern plains into Dixie Alley is where we expect the highest concentration of severe weather and tornadoes as we go through the rest of the month. In April, the severe weather risk pushes further north. Severe storms will be possible for areas in the red, as far north as the upper Midwest. The dark red is where multiple severe weather events will be possible, with the most of these events occurring in the south. Severe weather events will become more and more common as you go north in the second half of spring. The large purple area is where the main concentration of severe storms and tornadoes is expected to be during April, from the plains to Dixie Alley. Then, as we go into May, severe weather events will become possible across much of the eastern half of the United States, as far north as the Canadian border. While severe weather will continue being possible in Dixie Alley, the threat area will really spread out during May, from the plains all the way up into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. Lastly, The purple shade is where I expect numerous severe weather and tornado outbreaks, from northern Texas to Nebraska. May is usually one of the most active months for traditional Tornado Alley, and it looks like we will see more of the same for this spring. And that concludes my official spring weather forecast. If you enjoyed this video and you are interested in seeing more content from my channel, please make sure you subscribe. Thank you, and see you soon.